So I have something a little different for you today. Something that's been coming up, at least for me, anyway, is frames per second, 40 frames per second or 20 frames per second. This video is probably all in my opinion type of video. So in my opinion, you probably want to do 40 frames per second in your sequences. It gives supposedly, again, in my opinion, it gives a cleaner refresh rate on your pixels outside when it's playing. But what happens is you create your sequence, and I'm going to say animation. You may forget to click on this and you just hit done, and you end up getting the default of 20 frames per second instead of 40 frames per second. So I want to quickly show you how to convert them. If you've got some of these sequences that you want to correct. And uh, again, in my opinion, it's worth making the change. Now, I am going to show you a quick tool that I use. It's called grep win. A grep is a Unix tool that searches your hard drive for stuff, and win obviously for Windows. I'm pointing it to my show folder, and I'm going to look at just my sequences, so star.xsq. I'm going to specifically look for this string in the sequences. You probably don't know what this is, but it's the code that gets stored in your sequence that tells it that it's a 50 millisecond sequence timing string. If I look at this, it is a greater than sign, no space, 50, a space, ms less than sequence timing. So you click on that, searches through your entire show folder, and in my test, my QA show folder, I've got 3 sequences that are currently set at 50 milliseconds. So I want to show you how to change that. So I got Baby Shark EDM. So I will go to open sequence, Baby Shark EDM, click open. Now this is something you don't have to do. I just want to be consistent, and I figure why not? It's early in the season, go for it. So under sequence settings, it says 50 milliseconds. If you want to change it, you hit the question mark. Now, again, in my opinion, you could take the easy road here and just say yes and go ahead and change this to 25 and hit OK. It's going to do a little uh, loading, reloading, etc. And eventually you can hit done. And if you hit save, it's going to convert it to 40 frames per second. Now, there is some question about whether or not this is the correct way to do it. I'm perfectly happy doing it this way, but another way to do it is to re-import the sequence. Again, I'm going to show you a method that may work. It doesn't not work, but it may not be the perfect solution. So I'm just going to reopen the sequence and discard that. There we go. We reloaded it. Let's go back to sequence settings. And it's still at 25, which is counterintuitive. It 25 milliseconds. If I go say yes. Oh, I did save it. Oh, shoot. Okay. I didn't want it to save. I'm going to close this. Let me maybe it automatically does it for me, which I guess it's telling me that it was going to do that. So let me just open it again. And if it's already done it, I'll just show you a different method anyway, even though it's already done. File, sequence settings. It is already done. So let's pretend that it's back at 50 milliseconds. Another method would be to go ahead and do an import effects, and just re-import the sequence back over top of it. So let me roll back here a little bit, and I'll go to sequence settings. No, 25. Okay. I'm getting so confused. I want to go import effects. I want to grab the sequence again. It's really the same sequence. Click open. And you're going to get the import effects button. Just hit the auto map. That will bring over everything over again. Click OK. And it's going to pull in those effects now into a 40 frames per second sequence. So just a slightly different way of doing it. Maybe this is not needed. I don't really know. I personally didn't do it this way. I did it with just clicking the change and clicking done and save. I'm happy with that. And once you're done, hit your save. And I'll go back to my grep thing and do the search again. And now it's no longer in the list. So there it is, a video for what it's worth. If you want to try converting your stuff down to, or converting your stuff to 40 frames per second, you can try that, either just taking the easy road and just hit the question mark here. Say yes. Change it to 25, which tells you it's 40 frames per second. Click OK, click done. That's it. That's the easy way to do it. Give it a shot. You always have your backups. Remember, let me make sure that you know that. Let's make sure you have file preferences, and you want to have backup on launch setup so that it will save a set of backups every time you launch xLights. If you don't, you can manually do it by pressing the F10 key, and that will also create a backup of the XSQ files. It's not backing up the images, it's not backing up the video, it's not backing up the audio. It's strictly the effects, the XSQ. Anyway, there's your video for today. Have a great one. Talk to you later.